Rania Madi es una abogada palestina con una notable trayectoria enfocada en temas de derechos humanos y derecho internacional humanitario. Nació en Palestina en una familia numerosa con 5 hermanas y 2 hermanos. Fue exiliada por el ejército israelí, lo que le impidió regresar por 39 años a su tierra natal. Una experiencia profundamente marcada por el conflicto en la región. A pesar de las adversidades, Rania continuó su formación académica y profesional en Suiza, estudió Derecho Internacional Humanitario en la Universidad de Ginebra, una de las instituciones más prestigiosas en este campo. Su enfoque en el derecho internacional refleja su compromiso con la justicia y la defensa de los derechos de las personas afectadas por conflictos armados y violaciones a los derechos humanos. Rania ha trabajado en diversos foros internacionales defendiendo los derechos de los palestinos y otras comunidades desplazadas. Su labor legal ha sido fundamental para visibilizar las injusticias en zonas de conflicto y abogar por el respeto al derecho internacional humanitario. Su experiencia como refugiada la convierte en una defensora apasionada de los derechos de los exiliados. Hoy, en el Ágora Charlas con Ángela, nos comenta sobre su perspectiva de la revancha contra Palestina, que ya completa un año, y el principio del genocidio.
Muy buenas tardes, amigas y amigos. Bienvenidos a su programa Charlas con Ángela. Hoy tenemos a Rania Madi. Ella nos va a hablar desde Ginebra y es una abogada experta en derechos humanos.
Thank you very much, Ángela.
Primero que todo, vamos a hablar sobre tu infancia.
I born in Ramallah. It's a city in Palestine, 15 kilometers far from Jerusalem, because everybody knows Jerusalem. My parents, hopefully educated parents, so they were, for them, it was very important that I should have the highest education. We are 5 sisters and 2 brothers. So I grew up in Palestine until the age when I was really deported by the Israeli army. And they told me just 1 week, and I was 39 years without having the right to return back to Palestine until 2018.
Rana, entonces, ¿tú estudiaste Derecho en Palestina?
I study in a master in Zurich and then another one in Geneva University. And 2008, when the first war in Gaza, I went to Strasbourg. Then I study in one institute about human rights because my first studies was international law and humanitarian law.
Entonces, tú no estudiaste en Palestina carrera, ¿no hiciste tu estudio de Derecho en Palestina?
My first studies, as I told you, I start in Palestine until they kick me out. I was 17 years old, first year university. So hopefully I came to Switzerland. I got scholarship in England, but because I want to study about colonization, and of course, we were colonized by Britain. So I told my dad, no, I refuse to study in France or in England. I prefer to be in any neutral country. So the intention was to study in Geneva, to work with the international organizations.
Rania, entonces, cuando tú saliste de Palestina, después nunca pudiste volver a regresar.
39 years I was forbidden until the Swiss government, they interfere. Although I have the Swiss nationality in 94. So the Swiss authority, they interfere with the Israelis, and then I got the right to enter with a Swiss delegation, parliamentarians.
¿Qué encontraste cuando regresaste?
In fact, you understand when your parents became old, when your sisters get married, have kids, and the kids also get married and have kids, and the country completely changed, and the friends mostly either in prison or they are studying outside or they were killed or dead. You know, a lot of changes of the city. When I left, there is no Palestinian Authority. When I came back, there is a Palestinian Authority.
Entonces, tu caminar ha sido más que todo en Europa. ¿Cómo fue crecer en un país musulmán?
Yeah, it wasn't really the question, Muslim country. We never pronounce it because, Palestine, we have a lot of Christians and also we live together. I live in an area where, I was all the time with my neighbors. We are half Christian, half Muslim. So we never have any problem, with this. I go to the church as well. I learn about the Islamic religion. So I didn't have any problem, by the way.
O sea que a ti no te tocó en tu momento tener que pues, las restricciones que hay con las mujeres musulmanas.
In fact, because we have the occupation, so the women have an important role. So we never have the same suffering like other Arab countries. I remember when I traveled to Jordan or Lebanon or Syria, I was surprised because the problems they have, we don't have. I remember when I go after midnight to distribute papers, to call people to demonstrate, to prepare ourselves. We were boys, girls, all together. We never have this problem. But at the end, it was changes, unfortunately, since 1997.
Cuando tú estudiaste, saliste de Europa, de Palestina, tus padres y tu familia sigue viviendo allá todavía?
All my family still living there. They are really they refuse to leave Palestine. They came and visit me, my sisters, my mom, my dad, everybody. But they prefer to return back to live in Palestine. They are against leaving Palestine.
Y en el caso tuyo, ¿por qué a la edad de 17 años te tocó irte?
I didn't leave. In fact, I was under arrest. And because I was under 18 years old, so the Israelis told my dad, it's better she leaves for 1 week or 2 weeks and then she can come back. Then we will not judge her and put her in prison. And then when I tried to go back to Palestine to finish my studies, they never let me in. The reason why I left from Jordan to Syria, then I arrived Lebanon, then the war started in Lebanon, then I found myself in Tunisia. It was a very, very long journey.
En tus estudios, tú estudiaste Derecho y te especializaste en Derechos Humanos. ¿Eso ha sido tu práctica para defender a tu país?
In fact, when I arrived to Switzerland, and my first work was with the first Algerian president who just signed, the liberation of Algeria. And then he presented me to the mayor of the city of Geneva. And he told me, what do you want to study? I said, I want to be a lawyer. He said, no, you should study human rights and humanitarian law in order to defend your country. It's better than just a lawyer for normal cases, I mean public law. So it was a very good advice, especially Geneva. The United Nations is here and all the international institutions are in Geneva. So it's a very small, rich country with all these institutions. So it was really a great opportunity I got. That I had the chance to study here in Geneva.
Pues muy interesante ese caminar tuyo por Ginebra y los derechos humanos. Rania, te vamos a mostrar esta foto y tú nos dices qué piensas.
First of all, it's terrible what we saw. I live with these pictures, but this is not new. I mean, the Israeli attack, if we want to speak about Gaza, since long time. And the first war was in 2008 in December, and then 2012, then 2014, then 2018, then 2021. And now we are since 8 months. Unfortunately, the horror is continuing in the Palestinian territory, not just in Gaza. So this picture could be in any city in Palestine, not just in Gaza. This is why the people who said the war started in 7 October, this is wrong. the war, the terrible actions by the Israeli army, the occupation army, starts in 1948 and not in 7 October.
¿Cómo ves tú lo que está pasando ahora en Palestina, no en Gaza necesariamente, y cuál es tu punto de vista como abogada de derechos humanos?
In fact, why we arrive until we're here, because the international community, they never take the responsibility to end the occupation. You know, we have a lot of resolutions in the United Nations. We have a lot of commissions of inquiry. We have a lot of reports, but unfortunately, when it comes to, to applicate these things, nothing happened. Because, in fact, we understand the colonial countries, they support this colonial state of Israel. So this is absolutely normal that they don't want the Israeli to move. They don't want to end occupation. They want to destabilize the region by the presence of Israel. I am one of the people who prepared in 2000 a conference about one democratic state to live together in one state, and the people were represented in the parliament. They are Christian, Jews, Muslim, whatever their political party, leftist, right-wing, Islamic, etc. But unfortunately now I can tell you, it's very far. This project is very far. Because the Israeli, they never respect any of the international laws. They don't respect the humanitarian law. This is why I was obliged to go to the International Criminal Court with the Spanish lawyers and Spanish delegations who are represented in the European Union in order to bring a case about the Israeli army and the ones who gave them the orders in order to kill the people, to bomb the hospitals, and now I just see the ambulance which was shot, and the people who work, just to bring the ill people, the people who were injured to the hospital as well, they were unfortunately killed. So this is really, it's a crime against humanity, it's a war crime, and it's not just me who said that. All the lawyers in the world, when we speak about human rights and humanitarian law, they repeat the same words.
Entonces, ¿cómo va el caso ante la Corte Internacional Criminal?
The International Criminal Court is different than the International Court of Justice. The International Court of Justice, in which started by the South African, the case, it's related to the United Nations, in which all countries are members. But me and the delegations, we were in the International Criminal Court, in which you can follow any criminal in the world. So this is why, as a human being, as a lawyer, as a person who believes of justice, and this is how we were able to finish many wars, like Rwanda, Namibia, the apartheid in South Africa, and other countries. It's because we went to the courts in order to bring justice, in order to end impunity, in order to hold Israel accountable. So unfortunately, the international community is still silent. They have a good, resolutions, and let's say they criticize Israel, but they continue either giving money or arms. So how we will end with this colonizer if still the Europeans help, and the Americans as well, and many other countries? So this is why we have to call to hold accountable the Israeli leaders and the ones who give orders to kill the civilians in Gaza.
¿Cómo sigue el caso entonces en la Corte?
In fact, I'm very optimistic because the Court of Justice, the International Court of Justice, they called us in April, and it's the first time they accept that we take pictures together, and they ask us questions. And when I told them we are waiting some positive result, they said, soon you will hear positive result. And we were happy when the first judgment was that there is a warrant arrest against Netanyahu and Gallant. And they are the two persons in which we follow them in the International Criminal Court. So I'm optimistic, but after some weeks, Netanyahu was invited to the American Congress, and people applaud for him, which is mean we don't care. You can hold the world arrests, but we are really supporting Netanyahu. So this is the problem.
O sea que en realidad el caso es más en contra de los gobernantes de Israel que en contra de Israel como tal.
Yes, of course. This is why the warrant arrest was against Netanyahu and Gallant.
Eso me parece algo muy importante y muy interesante que esa sea, porque esa no es la versión que se pasa muchas veces en el mundo. Y por eso se dice que hay antisemitismo. Rania, cuéntanos ahora, en este momento en tu vida, ¿qué sigue?
It's really terrible. Every day there is a massacre. Saturday was holiday. I wake up with 100 persons have been killed. Children, really, you can't see their faces or their bodies. They put them in plastic bags, just, pieces of meat. You can't recognize them, unfortunately, Some people are dying of hunger. There is no water. There is a lot of illnesses. People have to follow the orders. They have to leave from one area to another. Unfortunately, the border is closed. They don't let humanitarian aid to enter Gaza, even the international organizations. I'm based in Geneva and I collaborate with them. Either the Red Cross International, World Health Organizations, Doctors Without Borders, and many others. They are unable to enter. Many kids, unfortunately, left without parents. Many parents lost the half of their families. Big buildings have been really destroyed. We can't find the people. Many people looking for some of their family, they don't see them. Some of them either killed and they didn't find their bodies. Other, maybe they are in prison in the Israeli prisons. And we saw one report appears by the Israeli newspapers about the way how they tortured the Palestinians, even they raped the men. Many have been killed. They lost many kilos, because they give them just one meal a day. And it's terrible actions happen there. Really, I don't want to say that I don't believe anymore of human rights, but I feel bad when people from Gaza, organizations called me, Rania, what's happening in Geneva? I feel like I'm useless. I feel like a small kid unable to do anything. So this is the problem why I have always to address to the governments here in Switzerland, especially in the United Nations. As well, I go like monthly twice to the European Union, in order to find their support. But unfortunately, you hear good voices from them, but they don't do anything. They told me it's horrible, but when it comes to Israel, we can't do anything. This is the problem, yeah.
Rania, entonces, ¿qué sigue? Es decir, ¿qué sigue? Porque si no se ha podido hacer nada, ¿cómo vamos a terminar este terrible genocidio?
I feel bad to be pessimistic or even optimistic. But honestly speaking, I want to remind you how long the apartheid system was in South Africa, and now South Africa is free. How many years Algeria was colonized by the French, 130 years. More than 1 million who were killed, and now it's an independent country. So there is many, many examples, if you want me to tell, about other colonizations. This is why our role, to be optimistic, to continue informing people about the reality, until one day, the international community, they will feel responsible. Because I have a lot of Jewish friends who are against what's happening there. Even some Jewish who live there in Israel, they are against. More than 500,000 left because they have other nationalities. They don't want to return back anymore. So this is why I think we should be more and more optimistic, although it's very, very hard when we know what's happening really in the ground. It's not just in Gaza. Last week they went to one of the camps, a very, really poor camp, and really they fire more than 35 cars. You imagine what's mean. Really, they uproot trees. They steal, the harvest of the many fruits, or they really throw very dirty water. So the question is not just killing people by arm, but also they use many other measures in order people to leave, because this is the objective of the Israeli system, to have a land with more Jewish and less Arabs. This is why they have a very, very racist laws, even when it comes to the Palestinians who didn't leave Palestine in 1948 when the State of Israel was created. This is why it's the important role of the international community really to end this colonization. Otherwise, it will continue years and years. And I will end here by one word. My mother is older than the State of Israel. The State of Israel old is 75 years old. My mother is 80 years old. So this is why we should keep hope in order to end this system of apartheid, occupation, colonization. The same like how the countries in Latin America were liberated.
Sí, Rania, en realidad hay algunos países en Latinoamérica que sí han estado en contra de lo que está pasando, y entre ellos es Colombia, de lo que está pasando en Israel en este momento, o en Palestina, pues en esta terrible guerra que está ocurriendo.
Yes, this is why we learn a lot from Latin America. I was in Ecuador, I was in Brazil, I was in Mexico, I was in Chile. We learn a lot of lessons from these countries. This is why one day, the country will never be free if the women are not free. So this is why we support a lot all fighters, especially the woman. The woman, she's a mother, she's a wife, she's the one who care about, the country and everything when her husband in prison or killed. But now in Gaza, unfortunately, a lot of mothers were killed. So, we have to help the whole population, not just the women. I thank a lot your TV to give me this honor and this intention to speak about what's happening in my country. Thanks a lot.
Rania, muchísimas gracias por habernos acompañado en este programa, y verdad que te deseamos muchísima suerte con tu trabajo con las mujeres, con tu trabajo con los derechos humanos y con esa labor tan importante que tú haces desde Ginebra para que en alguna forma se termine esta guerra tan terrible que está azotando el mundo.
Thanks a lot, and I hope one day I will be meeting the women in Colombia and we will celebrate together the liberation of Palestine and the end of the colonization. Thanks, Colombia. We learn a lot from you.